told this guy named Solon in the city of Sais, 550 BC. When Solon visited Egypt, he was bragging, and again, 550 BC is after the Assyrians had occupied Egypt 666 BC. It is before the Persians, and then they got free of that. Before the Persians came in 525, and certainly before we came in 332 BC. But anyway, Solon was bragging to the high priest at the city of On. He says, look, we have all these ancient peoples. And the high priest stood up and said, Solon. And there's a reference to this in the works of Plato, in the Timaeus. So you Greeks are always children. That's an important thing to take note. You Greeks are always children. Meaning he had assigned to them, says, you know nothing about the people who live where you now live, who were there before you got there, but periodically there are great geological catastrophes, and when they happen, the people who survive, rather than pick up where the others had left off, they have to go all the way back to the beginning all over again. So that's three things. One is that when a catastrophe like that takes place, that people go through permanent PTSD. Post-traumatic stress is a very important clinical condition to be studied. That you can be out of connection with your ancestral base. You can get out of connection with your ancestral base because you have to go through the horrors and memories of what they went through. So many of us, as my brother asked the question just a little while ago, don't want to remember what it was like to be a slave. Don't want to remember what it was like to see your mother being crucified. Don't want to remember to see your father being castrated. Don't want to remember what it was like to see yourself being beat down because you didn't bow to Miss Charlie. Don't want to remember none of that. And in doing so, you give up your emotions. You give up your emotional responsibility, as Dr. John Clark says. History teaches you where you are now, how you got there, and what is your responsibility to do about it. So you can look at that and see, well, Mama went through that. Oh no, there has to be some judgment day on that one. There has to be some vindication. We can't just pass over that. No, because I'm carrying too much weight. My children are carrying too much weight. Secondly, it makes known that the Europeans were defined as people who were neophytes. They had only gone as far as grade 1. They had not gone to grades 2 or 3. Therefore, they were considered to be children. When they, with their white mind, look at their black ancestors, the common root that I get is envy and jealousy. Envy and jealousy. You got more than I got. Where were you when I was in the cave? Where were you when I was up there in that ice box and had that high mountain valley surrounded by those 5,000-foot glaciers? 5-mile glaciers. Where were you? And jealousy. There's another discussion which we need to really expand upon. What kinds of wrong deeds have these people done with their own African communities that made the African community exile them into those northern regions? So that's a story we got to have some dialogue on. What had happened? What kinds of misdeeds had been done? If you're worshiping, if you're going to tear down the black God, then what was that all about? What was all that about? If you're going to have a idolized white ice and put down blackness, what's all that about? So the post-traumatic stress syndrome, the issue of the being stuck in grade 1, and then this issue of coming to terms with the struggles between the Chilans, post-ice ages, as they face 2012. If Africans have left this planet and gone to other planets, then are the other mother's planes or starship bodies waiting for the right time to come back so they can have a decent conversation with their cousins?